We're going to be all marketing geniuses by the end of this. Look out, Facebook and Spotify. All right, sweet. Cool. Oh, we'll get
And look
started.
at labels, mate. The worst thing that could happen is that artists get their shit together, all right?
Oh, my job is over. My career is over. Yeah. I'm not making money at the moment anyway, so let's all not make money together.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Arlo. Yeah, we've got a pretty good session tonight for all of you. Originally, I saw Arlo do a release strategies chat. I can't remember what pub it was, but it was for Noisehive and Xelon. And that was what inspired me to put that spreadsheet together, the release strategies spreadsheet. It absolutely just kind of blew me away. And I can't believe I never did it before. So that whole chat about the release strategies we did a couple of weeks ago, that's pretty much thanks to Arlo. So we're going to take it a little bit beyond that kind of release strategies chat and go a little bit further into some more of the marketing side of things. We have like a low budgeting marketing plan to chat about, swipe up Instagram campaign, a bigger budgeting marketing plan. We'll talk about Arlo and his roles. And before we get started, did you want to introduce yourself? Let us know a bit about yourself, Arlo.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of people here that I know, which is good. But then a few that this will be our introduction, which is super cool. But I've essentially been working in the Australian dance music scene for, in a professional sense, a bit over 10 years. I work for a company called Xelon Entertainment, and we're the distributor for essentially the majority of the Australian run dance labels. So everything from sort of Sweated Out Central Station to, of course, your Hot Sundays and Generation and Medium Rare Recordings, who I've independently been a label manager for, and lots and lots and lots of artist-run labels as well. On top of that, I also run Xelon was more of a wholesale brand where people would come in via referral, but we didn't really advertise our distribution service as a public thing. But towards the end of last year, we opened up our service Noisehive to independent artists, so people can create an account, upload their music, and we'll distribute that in the same way that we would do sort of one of our more wholesale clients. So we pride ourselves on being a bit more hands-on. We listen to the music, which I know that sounds really simple, but like I think it's really important. And when you're in a commission, which is one of the things we do differently as well, it's really important to sort of know what the music is so you can help place it. Because when the artists and labels make money, we make money. If you're a fee-based distributor, then your main business model becomes acquiring new business as opposed to enabling the catalog you've got to do as best as possible. So that's what we like to do to separate ourselves from some of the other players. Outside of that, I originally got to Xelon because I was because they were distributing my own music, some my pretty terrible early records that I did under Smile and Impact. Smile and Impact I did as a project for probably 8 to 10 years and really enjoyed it, and it went through all different sort of styles and stuff. But in 2016 I started Watermelon Boy, and I sort of I really narrowed the sound that I was going to do, and it's a really kind of like tropical electronica act. It's got kind of moombahton, reggaeton style rhythms. Recently it's had a bit more of an Afrobeat kind of influence. Lots of tuned percussion, lots of fuzzy synths and chopped up samples. And lately I've been doing a lot more sort of vocal collaborations, doing a lot more sort of 3-minute pop songs, and that's been a ball. So in my role, I've always been attached to what's happening with digital music and being kind of at the forefront of that. So I've always had a lot to say to artists about this is, how you should strategize. This is what you should be doing. This is where you should be putting your time. This is where you should be putting your energy. Don't worry about that as much as this. And I've always said that, but I've always kind of been a little bit more half-assed with my own projects. So this year I decided, look, I'm going to get my shit together with Watermelon Boy and see what I can do just by getting organized. And so in this year, Watermelon Boys put out, let me just check. I think next week it'll be my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th single for the year.
Beautiful.
And my followers have gone from sort of like 220 followers to like 1,265 at the moment. So I've had sort of reasonably, sorry, that's Spotify followers. There's been some good placements. I've had 2 editorial placements on Spotify. I've had 1 on Apple Music. And yeah, you know, a little bit of blog love and stuff like that. Nothing huge, but it's all been reasonably low budget and done with the idea that it can be repeatable. So one of my main ethoses when it comes to releasing music is don't spend money that you can't spend again. So like, don't spend more this month than you can afford to do next month on your next single. I think it's really important for that to be sustainable. So that's one of the things I've done this year. And then outside of that, I also manage an artist called Kids at Midnight. She's like an electronic singer-songwriter. She's a producer, makes kind of these 80s power ballads that are like these, you know, beautiful melodramatic romance songs that would suit like rom-coms and stuff like that. And she's had a dope year, and just less than 2 weeks ago released an album. So with a lot of the stuff that I learned doing Watermelon Boy this year, we implemented a marketing plan with a budget of $3,500. So not super big, but good for an album for an independent artist. And so we're kind of in the middle of that campaign at the moment, and we've had some awesome successes. So I want to go through that with you today to show you what I think is worthwhile and where you can spend the energy and the time, and what are things you shouldn't pay for, I suppose.
Amazing, man. We'd absolutely love to see that marketing plan.
Yeah, look, it's pretty straightforward. So I want to ask, like, straight up, if there's anything off the bat that anybody sort of needs clarification on, or had sort of, you know, or whether they're happy for me to just sort of hit the road with it.
Yeah, I guess just before we jump into it, just touching on the 7 releases you've had this year, is that something where you've previously, say 10 years ago, you might have put out an album or a 3 or 4 track EP, and now because it's 2020, and is it better to release, you know, a song a month sort of thing?
Short answer, yes. I suppose I more would have been in the mindset previously of writing a song, falling in love with that song, finishing that song, releasing that song, losing steam, pulling up something else I like, finishing that, putting that out, and then just kind of like plodding along in that kind of way. Yeah. And so what I decided to do this year was to just get organized, map out the singles. I mapped them out, not necessarily in order of preference or which ones I like the most, but which ones were the most finished. And I just put dates on everything, and I just held myself accountable to those dates and got shit cracking that way.
Amazing.
What you touched on there was really important. I put Spotify followers as an important metric for me. So for me, appealing to the Spotify algorithm was essential. And like YouTube, like Instagram, like any of these platforms, they like when you're regular, prolific. They like when you're prolific. The stuff you get for free is rewarded by prolific nature of what you do. So the stuff you get for free in Spotify are Release Radar and Discover Weekly. That's the placement you get for free. And they do well when you're on sort of a 4 or 5 week cycle. Good for you. Scott, I see you're on the 0-0s. Good idea, mate. Keeping the mind clear for this one. Unfortunately, I'm on Cooper Stout, so if I get a little slurry by the end of the thing, you know, like,
I should have grabbed a beer.
so yeah. So yeah, we're nice cash here. So I can do the basic share if you like.
Yep, please do.
I just remembered I've got a little. I've actually got a what's that thing called? PowerPoint. I've got a PowerPoint presentation that might be a little dated now. But it's the one that that you saw. So I can quickly skip that one, Christian, if you like, when we do the screen there. Or I can just straight up show you the we can do both, it doesn't really matter, but show you the okay, let's go for it. I'm going to do the screen share now. Where do we see that? We saw it here. Okay, cool. Share, beautiful. Righto. You guys got something for me?
Yes.
Can you see this?
Beautiful.
Okay, this is my Watermelon Boy release planner. Now this is probably not too different to the one that Christian showed you a few weeks back, but essentially I've just got my artist checklist, which is something that essentially are things that you really vaguely only do once, but you might update every now and then. They're just things that need to be done. So, you know, having a press shot logo, socials, unearthed, having a link tree, having a Deezer, which I haven't actually done the Deezer one yet, having Spotify artist profile, having Apple Music artist page, Beatport label page, and then having a list of publications, playlists, and radio that I like. There's the artist names and the track names. And then right over here is the release date plus or minus 0. So that's the release date of these singles. So each row is a single. And then I put the release date in here. And if I was to adjust this release date, so this is the 28th of August, I was to adjust this one to say the 4th of September, it adjusts all these other dates here to be like weeks prior. So this is release date minus 1 week, release date minus 2 weeks, release date minus 3, release date 4 or 5, etc. Right? It makes sense to people. I don't know if I can type this in. So essentially that just gives me something to do. So I've basically made this all Fridays. So my release dates are Fridays, and then I can come in on a Friday and I just look for the day's date. And so like tomorrow's the 21st. So these are the things that I'm doing for this track tomorrow. Now, I might also be final. I might also, because this is the same date, the 21st of August, as tomorrow, I'm also doing that for this release. So this next release is the album. So very likely that release date's going to change. It'll be the last one that does change out of these 8 releases, but that one may very well change because that's going to be the full record. But yeah, so basically you just come in on the Friday, look for your date, and then you've got a list of things to do for a relative single. So I've got, say on this one, inform any parties involved for of any early support, announce forthcoming release on socials. So that's like a week out, you might say, here's my forthcoming release. So essentially that's the way it works. That's the real basics of it. I'm just going to bring up the PowerPoint presentation on the other screen for me, and then I'll drag it down here so we can see it.
Yeah, beautiful. And then we've got one of these that's downloadable as well, which I'll chuck in the description. That's cool that you linked yours with your calendar dates.
Release planner, right?
Yeah, that's awesome that you've got the calendar dates in there. I'll have to ask you how you do that. That's sweet.
Yeah, it's just a Excel algorithm. I did it, like it's one of the things I might have looked up to do it once, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get me to sign in. I just press start from the beginning. There we go. Cool. Okay. It's gone onto the other screen, view. But if I hit share screen, new share, that one, that helps, I think. Okay. Did that change the screen it was sharing?
Yep.
Beautiful. So you can see this one. When was this? Was this Feb this year? Yeah, it must
yep.
have been. Okay, cool. Righto, groovy. So this is, I'm just going to do a basic run through of essentially my principles around this. We're just going to smash through it because I want to get into that other marketing campaign because I think that's the nuts and bolts stuff. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have at least touched on getting organized and having a release strategy before, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so this is me quoting myself from my own article. There's a new level of empowerment being experienced by musicians. The old gatekeepers of the industry are currently being subverted. You no longer need a third-party record label to release music, and you can become your own record label in an afternoon with almost no capital. The key to this is digital distribution, and it's now a public service that can be accessed online without anyone even hearing your music first. All right, that was from my article from late last year. So these are the key values for being a self-releasing musician. Be organized, so checklist, schedules, contacts database, media database, art assets, templates, subcatalog, release processes. Be prolific. Now this is an example, lay out your next 6 singles, create templates for cheap and easy processes, and then reach out all the time to everyone. So radio, media, Facebook friends, playlist curators, text messages, whatever it takes, do the reaching out. Don't be afraid with that one. Okay, this is my sheet a little while ago. Essentially the same thing, you get the concept. But it's basically all the things to do and how far out they need to be done. And then you just put the release date in and work backwards from there. Okay, next one. So be prolific. Create bundles of content and schedule them for release. So say you've got your, so you did your press shots, right? And you might have, like, digital photography means that you take like literally dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of photos. You probably end up with 2 or 3 ones that will be your press shots, your main great shots. But the other ones can be there for Insta. There are other ones that will be suitable for Insta, that'll be suitable for Facebook. And if you know that on Mondays, you're posting one of your press shots, one of the ones that maybe is like a B press shot, it's not your favorite one, then that's content that you know that you can map out that every Monday you're doing this first thing in the morning. You don't even have to think about it. So it takes you less time, less energy, and you've always got the content there because you banked it earlier. That's just an example. Make banks of subcatalog that can be called on when needed. So subcatalog is this term I think I coined, I don't know, but essentially it's the idea of it's bigger than a social post. It's more important than a social post, but it's not a release. So it's not an official release. So if you can think of things like a live performance video for Facebook, or if you can think of a cover that you might do, or a lyrics video, or something along those lines. A music video, sure, is in my opinion, subcatalog now. Because there's so many fewer places to play it. But essentially that's what they are. So for me, a bank of subcatalog might be that you set up your gear and you do an awesome live performance and you cut it all into little songs, and then you release those songs one at a time. So one of our artists on Noisehive is a guy called Freeds. He's a vocalist. He's kind of in that realm of like what you still call hip hop, but he's not rap, like it's hip hop vocals kind of stuff. Awesome tunes, really like him, really cheery and cool. He had this series called Grandpa's Garden, right? Where he's got this thing that even though he's a younger dude, he calls himself like a Jewish grandpa. That's like that's his angle. So he has this series called Grandpa's Garden where it's him and 2 other musicians and they play his songs. And he's made this amazing sort of performance series out of it where every few weeks a new performance comes up. So that's his subcatalog, and he's banked that, and they're just on a folder on his computer, and he's mapped out when he's going to post, right? So that's really cool, engaging content. Now this next one is pretty boring, but it's like so real. Build your own style guide and templates. Like if you've got a logo, and you have to remember what the font is that you use every time, then that's like stupid, right? Even if you've got just a .text file and it says, this is where my logo is kept on my hard drive, this is what font I use, this is the size, this is the dimensions, then create your own little style guide. This is the color, you know, you might even have a color, like, what's that code called? The HTML code for a color? You know what I mean? You might even have that kind of stuff all mapped out, and that's your style guide for your identity as an artist and you know, a little folder like that or a little notepad doc like that will be not that hard and will save you time. All these assets are about saving you time. That's the main thing. When these things look like a lot of work, they're the opposite of that. These are all time-saving mechanisms. And then this last one, this is like an ultimate goal at the end. Gather enough data to identify your audience. Very rarely is your audience exactly who you think they are. Very rarely. And the bigger the world, like the smaller the world gets with like the internet and the way we consume music and stuff like that, you don't even know who your audience is. You'd have no idea.
So would that mainly be from like Spotify insights or?
Anywhere you can get that data. Anywhere you can get that data. So I'm going to give a great example. So Jane, Kids at Midnight, who has like makes these kind of retro songs that you would think would be good with people that like kind of 80s power ballads, right?
Yeah.
But largely her audience has been kids kind of between the age of like 14 to like early 20s. And there's a reason for that. And I'll sort of go into it a bit later, but that's where it's connected. And on top of that, a lot of her engagement has come out of Latin America, like a lot in the last month. So, and this isn't just kind of like tick like, this is people leaving comments, sending messages, you know, that kind of engagement. So she wouldn't have predicted as like a kind of elder millennial, she would not have picked that her audience was going to be these like Gen Z kids, but there it is. So
amazing.
And we only get that from the data. And okay, so here we go. Reach out all the time to everyone. Blur the lines between friends, fans, and patrons. Okay. I think you like this one, Christian, because like this is the Australian house music scene is incredibly mature in lots of ways. It's got really solid methods, and one of the things that it does really well is like crew, and it's a really good scene when it comes to people supporting each other's records and people kind of being friends. I mean, I'm sure everyone like jokes about what a dickhead everyone else is behind their back and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and not in a like in a reasonably healthy way. I don't think people have it like venom. They probably think, you know, have a bit of cheeky, healthy rivalry there and stuff like that, because a lot of people are doing similar shit. But I mean, for what you've experienced with Hot Sunday, and with the DJs, friends, fans, and like industry support would be very kind of closely like kind of mushed together, right?
Yeah.
Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, it's amazing. I think everyone's super supportive of each other and wants to work together, definitely.
Yes. So you're not just like sucking up to industry heads or radio stations to support your record and then treating your fans like crap. Like the DJs are the people supporting the music. They're the people that you're connecting with. They're the people you're trying to impress. So they're the fans and the industry at the same time. And they're also your contemporaries and friends. So, you know, I think that's really healthy. And I think regardless of what your scene is, you can do that. And that you can do that firstly on the reverse by just banking favors. If you're in a metal group and you played with heaps of bands in Melbourne, anytime they've got a single out, you'd be sharing that, you know. You'd be sharing their press photos, you'd be making comments on stuff, you know, you'd be engaging with them, and then it sort of pays dividends because you'll see it sort of come back, and it makes your scene healthy, not at the expense of you. It makes your scene healthy on a global stage. Yeah. It's really important to get small town
artists. It's free to support each other. It's free to share each other's stuff, and it's free to leave comments, and it just takes a little bit of time, but which we all have.
Only positive.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Talk to people at gigs, yours and others, add them to your network. Like, especially if you're, you know, back like in the days before Dan Andrews outlawed getting on the beers, you could like speak to people and a lot of the times people that are willing to engage with you are the kind of, and if you've had a conversation with somebody, they're the kind of person that if you put a record out, you could say to them, hey sis, I just got this new record out. Or hey bro, I've just got this new record out. Do you want to hear it? And they'd be the kind of person that would reply to you and say, yeah, I do want to hear it. Because you had a fucking half-hour conversation with them that day.
Yeah.
Right? It's just add them to your network. And if you want to be super organized, create a little tab on your Excel sheet where you write down people who might be interested in what I'm doing, who I can start a conversation with, and just let them know that I've got something out. You know, that's not that hard either.
Yeah.
So lol at their gags, it doesn't mean whether it's on your page engaging with you or whether it's just something else. If someone's in your network and you're seeing their shit in your feed, just fucking engage with it. Like it's not a big deal. That message them when you release. Yep. Thank people who've played, written about, and playlisted your tunes publicly. Now, I really like this one because this is essentially content that you can map out. So in the same way that you might have a release strategy guide with a calendar like the one that I pointed at, you might have a content calendar where you've got every day or every second day marked out. And then you just start putting things in there. Now, it's really exciting on release day. You might have a new release out, you might get blog coverage, and you might get DJ feedback all on the same day. And you put all that sort of shit on your socials all on the same day, right? And they kind of compete against each other for room.
Yeah.
What I would suggest is bank that stuff, screenshot that stuff. If someone, if Triple J Unearth plays your track, screenshot the tweet, save it, post it 4 days later when you've got nothing to post. Right? Put it in the calendar later.
Bit of patience there, not getting too excited.
Yeah. It's really good. Get excited, save it, and then in 2 or 3 days, when you look at the calendar, and go, oh sweet, yeah, I've got that. You'll be excited again. It's fine. You don't have to burn it all at once. So yeah, thanking people who've played, written about, playlisted your tunes public. Another one I mentioned Unearth before. If you get a review on Unearth, that's worth a post, right? Tweets are worth posting about. Like other people engaging with you, you double that engagement by tagging them again. You know? Now those are the people that you can email directly with when you have a new release. So other people that have supported you in the past, you email them individually directly to say, hey, thanks for your support previously, got a new release. Make friends with curators. Now that you could do a whole, did you say you were going to have Mike Warner at some point?
Yeah, tomorrow. I'm going to interview him tomorrow.
Oh, awesome, right? I will not waste your time giving you my opinion on make friends with curators, right? That's Mike's bag. Essentially, it's like if there are people that have playlists with followings, get to know those people, listen to their playlists, share their playlist. You know, it's cool, it's fine. And build friendships or at least rapport before asking for favors. So on any of this stuff, so I'll just quickly cover what Mike might talk about. Fuck it, I won't say playlisters, I'll just call it a radio show. Say you know that there's a community radio show in Brisbane that plays exactly the kind of stuff that you make, right? And you know this host loves exactly your music. First up, follow them. Great. Second up, comment on something they've done, right? Third step, reach out to them and say, hey, I really like what you're doing. Thanks a lot. Keep up the good work. Then maybe fourth, say, hey, I've got some music. What's the best way to submit it? Then fifth, send it to them how they want it, right? And you can see the difference between that and just an unsolicited message from someone they don't know that says, here's my new tune, you know, sort it fucking out, you know, like clearly.
Yeah.
That's it. Basically connect with them, show that you appreciate what you do, be a fan, and then eventually then you can say but first rule, I've got new music that I'd love you to hear. How do you want me to send it to you? How do you accept demos? Or not demos, but how do you accept music? That's really important. They might say, hey, look, I check my emails on Tuesday mornings and I like SoundCloud links.
Yeah.
You know, that's heaps different to sending somebody a Spotify link in the Instagram chat. You know, which it might not even open up, like, because knows what's happening with Instagram and links these days. Like, I can
Yeah.
never keep up.
Yeah, building some sort of rapport is super important first.
This one's worth a screenshot, I suppose. This is all just handy stuff that I was giving to our indie artists. Just a couple of assets. Songkick, you can put your gigs onto your Spotify page with Songkick. Rotor is a really cool way to make low budget custom videos for your music. So like, if you're like a synthwave electro act, you can make like, using stock footage, you can make really cool custom videos, and they cost $25 at the end, and then you can use it for, you know, it's just a bit of sub content that's pretty cheap. AMRAP is distribute your music to community radio stations. I've heard a lot of people recently saying that they're sluggish as hell, so I wouldn't be maybe trying to make a habit of this for every single, unless you've got a fair bit of lead time and you're happy for it to drag out. I'd be more like, this is album EP kind of thing. Canva, really cool way to make templates for your art. Sorry. You guys hear that? I might put myself on mute for a sec.
That happened to me today, actually.
You want to Zoom?
Yeah, that happened to me today during a Zoom, and it was amazing. And I also had the dogs try and attack the cat, which was great. I think this is all really good info. Another thing is Triple J Unearthed. You really want to jump onto Triple J Unearthed and put your songs on there and do that, you know, 6 weeks before the release, because that's quite a slow site as well. And something that is advice that I was giving with Triple J Unearthed, put your very, very best songs on there, make sure they're radio length. And if you want to find some of the Unearthed presenters' emails online, it's worth sending them a really nice email, you know, kind of like what Arlo said, don't just send the link without, you know, kind of saying anything. You know, obviously these presenters and stuff are super busy, so you might acknowledge how busy they might be before you put the link in, and just say, hey, look, I know you're busy. Here's my latest track. I'd love for you to give it a rating or a review on Triple J Unearthed. And, you know, they might not reply to your email, but they might review your track. And
yeah, I've had that. I've had people not reply to the email, but then there's like, which is like
4 stars. It's like, yeah.
And yeah, exactly. I rate that move 4 stars. That's fine.
I think something really important with that approach, though, is do not send every single track, and make sure you send your very best one, especially if it's the first time you're emailing them. You want it to be the best track you've got. If it's going to be the first impression, and if they've opened their email and they're giving it a shot, make it your best one.
I just had a little breakthrough with that as well. Recently, you would think perhaps that you're only, because you can only have 3 tracks on there at a time. Yeah. So you would think that essentially nothing's going to get played on Unearthed Radio unless it's on the Unearthed site. And we just had one with Kids at Midnight where a track that she put up didn't get any bites, just started getting played recently. So I don't know whether it was only played once, but it's actually not on the site anymore, but it got played. So what I'm saying is if something's been up 3 or 4 weeks and you want to put the next one up, like, don't sweat it, put the next one up. Just keep the ones up that have got your best reviews and the most action. Kill, even if it's the most recent one that you're killing off to put the new one up. It may still get played anyway. You never know.
Yeah. We've had the Aston Shuffle play artists' tracks that have been on Unearthed that, you know, a month after the release, the artist has just finally sort of put it up. And even though they've got the promo or whatever, for some reason, they've then seen that that's there, and then they've played it. And so I think it's free.
But they're also obligated. Like, the presenters at Triple J have to spend a certain amount of time per week on Unearthed. So it's something that they're like mandated to do as part of their work agreement, as far as I know, or as part of their responsibilities. So something along those lines. But either way, like, you know, you can attack it from both ends. No sweat. Yeah. Just on this link tree. If you don't have Linktree now, you should get it. It's free. You can only put one link in your Instagram bio, and that was the niche that they were servicing when they created Linktree. It's a Melbourne company. The guys at Bolster run it, and they're legends. I really appreciate what they do. But essentially, Linktree enables you to make a custom landing page. If someone clicks through to that, you can just put anything in. You can say, new single, new music video, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. And you can just put your own buttons in and put
OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. OnlyFans. Patreon, whatever. Yep. Okay. And then there's a Buzz 50 little half price token if you want to do a Noisehive account. So we've got a startup fee. Generally, it's $250 Australian, but yep, with Buzz 50, it's only $125. But there's no sort of ongoing fees or anything like that. That just makes sure that our time has come to spend a few hours sort of checking out your tunes, etc. So I'm going to stop sharing. And how do I?
Top. It should be the top middle. There should be like
It's new share. What do we do?
Stop sharing.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's a small button. Yeah. I'm back.
Everything's really difficult with Zoom. If it was easy, it wouldn't be on Zoom.
Yeah. There we go.
They just try and make it as hard as possible.
Yeah, I like the idea. Did you know, because there's so much Zoom activity now, people just guessing links, extensions. You hear about that? And just like
you end up on a Tony Robbins self-help course.
Yeah, because it's not like password protected most of the time.
Actually, so probably half the people here are here by accident.
Yeah.
Mate,
I have a question. You suck.
Yeah. I'd love to hear a bit about the low budget marketing plans. I think a lot of our artists that are releasing tracks,
killer.
They don't want to spend heaps of money, but they do want to spend a little bit.
Oh, damn straight. Yep. Okay. So like marketing singles has always been hard. It's always been hard since the invention of the internet, especially like with like smaller budgets. So for years and years and years, I've had in my head this idea of like a $500 marketing plan, because it's actually really easy to spend $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 to promote a single. It's really hard to spend $500. And I don't know, like anyone else that's like done singles before, whether label or as an individual or something like that. Like it might be like if you saw something that you could spend $500 on as a marketing plan, you'd do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is what I would do now as a if I was going to recommend, someone said I got $500 and I want to market a single. This is essentially what I do, and I'll just spell it out as simple as I can. So the first one is I would be reaching out to as many blogs and everything as I could personally. Ones that you think are they're going to be interested. So start with the Australian ones and ones that you might have direct email content for, right? Then I'd be making a list of publications that you can contact via email. I'll be doing Unearthed, right? As we mentioned before.
Yeah.
I'll also be making a list of friends and curators that might have Spotify playlists that they could add your track to, or Apple playlists or anything like that. So those three things there are free, right? They should be in your release plan anyway, right?
Yeah.
The next one, I might ask for a show of hands here. Has anyone used Submit Hub before?
I have.
Okay, good uns. Right, actually, I might just, Marcus and Nicholas, can you guys jump on for a second? Just tell me what you reckon your experience has been on that.
Yeah, so I just put one tune on there. It was like an unofficial remix. I think I spent like $10-15, and then didn't really get any responses from it. So I'm not sure if it was less on Submit Hub. I've heard since people like, oh, it's pretty shit, but I was like, my tune just could have been shit. I don't know, but it's nice to get a response. But yeah, that's my kind of first experience of it.
Yeah, cool, Marcus.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I found the productions that were musically a little bit more adventurous tended to do a little bit better. The clubbier things with, I suppose, less melodies didn't stick as much.
So like really hook dominant, right? The hooky
very much
stuff.
Yeah. Anything that's like, for example, like your underground tech house sounding track wouldn't get as much traction with the curators. But as soon as you put something up with hooks and melodies, whether it be vocally or some instrumentation, they tend to up a lot better.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. I like it. Christian, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I used it probably a couple of years ago. I can't exactly remember. I think it was a bit fiddly to do. I don't think I spent more than $20, but I think I also used Playlist Push at the same time, so I'm not too sure. Can't remember what was doing what.
Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know exactly what it is, essentially it's one of the big blogs. Was it Indie Shuffle or Dancing Astronaut or something like that? But one of the guys behind one of the bigger blogs just essentially made this submitting platform for his blog so that people could, in a kind of mess-free way, submit tunes to him. So he could, like, when they send him an email saying, you know, can you play the song? He'd say, send it to this thing. And then he just started adding extra blogs and extra curators and stuff like that to it. So it's a thing where you essentially pay money, you buy credits, and then you spend those credits to submit your tracks to blogs. And you can select an option which you always must do, right? You always should do, where you ask for written feedback. So they've got to put at least 10 words of original feedback in that, in response to your submission. And if they don't do that in 48 hours, you get your credit back, right? So I would recommend spending about $100 on that. So getting about 80 credits, or, you know, 70 odd, I think it's 110 Australian dollars for 80 credits, or 100 credits for 80 USD, or whatever it is. But I'd recommend spending like 80 to 100 credits. The submissions are either 1, 2, or 3 credits each. So you should get sort of 60 odd submissions out of that. And then your approval rate will be anywhere between like 5 to 15%. And the feedback you get will be appalling, right? It'll be it's horrendous. It's absolutely, it's children, right? Going, you know, I think the mix down on this could use work. And then the next one will say, the mix down on this
Your
is
snare's shit.
but I just didn't like the vocal. And then the next one will be like, the vocal on this is amazing, but the, you know, and it'll be this whole circle jerk that if you ever tried to take any of that advice, it'd leave you. So the main thing is, forget the advice that they give you, forget the feedback. Just, you may get 2, 3, 4, 5 approvals out of it, which is 2, 3, 4, 5 playlistings or blog posts that you get for your single, that not only promote your single, but each of those is a piece of content that you can post about, and you can tag the people, and you can kind of continue that little sort of circle jerk and momentum there on that. So there you go. So $110 approximately for that one. Secondly, I would just say the next bit you could just spend on Facebook and Instagram ads. Now, I'll talk specifically about 2 types of ads. One I'll call a fan finder, and then the other one is just like a swipe up Instagram ad that services a single. Now, the fan finder is a great way to use that piece of sub catalog that we were talking about earlier. So if you've got a live performance or a cover version or something that looks like a Facebook post or a YouTube post, it's a bit of a like, you've seen those videos where it's someone doing like an acoustic version of Subtract or something, right? It's like they do a
kind of
hit
like
song.
impressive content.
Yeah, it's like impressive content. It's something interesting. So you do something that's like, and it's a little bit harder with electronic acts, but I would suggest this is where you need to be creative, right? You don't, anytime you can throw money at something instead of thinking, you should be thinking and then putting money behind it, right? You can't just think that throwing money at something is going to be marketing. You've got to come up with something that's engaging, then that's market, right? So there are plenty of really good YouTube resources here that can give you more information. I'm just going to scratch the surface around what to do with Facebook marketing in this. But if we created a fan finder video that was a performance of Christian playing his bass, doing a cover of like Sly and the Family Stone and singing, right? But it just happened to be kind of relevant.
I'd lose a few fans.
Yeah. No, but if you're doing something that was like relevant to your style, that would get people interested in your act, right? and you were to make a 3 to 4 minute video, you could create that as an ad for your artist page on Facebook. You might go, well, like, okay, this might get me more Facebook likes, but big whoop, that's not money or anything, right? But what you can then do is if you were to create a $100 post around that, and you were to target similar demographics or appropriate audiences based on the people that, you know, make similar music to you or something along those lines, you then can start extracting information based on the watch time of that video. So in your Facebook ads manager, you can now create a new audience based on people that have watched 75% or more, or even 95% of that video. So you might get, if you put $100 behind something, you might get 15,000 impressions, right? You might get a, but out of that, we know that most of those impressions are just fucking 2-second scroll through. And because Facebook aren't paying on their streams, they'll jack those numbers up as much as they can. Whereas say something like YouTube, where they have to pay out on the streams, they're not trying to count those 2-second watches, right? They're trying to only count them after a certain time. Or Spotify, for example, they're not trying to pay out on 2 seconds of a song, right? So it's got to be a certain amount. So, but because Facebook aren't paying out, they jack those numbers up. But you go into Ads Manager and create new audience. You can create an audience based on video watch time, and you can create it based on 75% or 95% of that. So this is people that have watched that shit and are engaged. Now, those people have accounts. You can then target those accounts via their Facebook or even via their Instagram. So they might have watched 95% of your shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
You create that as an audience in your ads manager. Then you can create a swipe up Instagram campaign for stories that targets those people. And they'll be like, oh, I remember that guy. I know that guy. And they've already got that level of engagement in there. Right. So you're not just throwing money at shit like people that don't care. The whole point about it is that you're funneling that audience in, and anytime you spend money, you don't want to be re-throwing money at more people that are not interested. You want to get that right down to the point where you're addressing your fans. So you're not spamming people, you know, so you're not a hazard and you're not wasting your own money. Now, another really cool thing about Facebook ads is that once you've created an audience, you can then create a lookalike audience. And what Facebook will do is it'll find out what all those people in common have. So say there's 1,200 people that have watched 95% of that video, right? They can then go, what do these 1,200 people have in common? Now, you don't get the names and addresses of these people. They don't become a mailing list or anything. They stay just as a Facebook audience, right? But you can then create a lookalike audience based on that. Now, that lookalike audience might be 2 or 3 million people. Because it's people that have things.
Zuckerberg's listening. I think Mark Zuckerberg is hearing that we're spilling his tips. Are you back now?
Yeah. Okay. Now, it's not people that have engaged with your page, that have liked your page, that have watched your video, but it's people that have lots of things in common with the people that have. So these are actually really ripe audiences for your ads and marketing. Are you even hearing me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, groovy. Well, why don't we cut back to screen share and we'll talk about setting up a swipe up ad.
Yeah, sweet. So we've got basically 210 out of the $500 so far. Is that right?
Yeah. So like literally, I'd be then just taking that, like I'd be putting, you know, $100 towards the fan finder campaign, and then I'd be just spending the rest, this $290 or whatever it is that you got, on servicing both the audience you've created with your fan finder and a lookalike audience.
Yeah.
And I'd be servicing that audience. I'd be servicing that audience with a swipe up campaign, right? And that swipe up campaign is a link to your new single. And in that link to the new single, I would always, in the swipe up ad, I would always say, swipe up to follow on Spotify.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that, it sounds so dumb, but people like a bit of clarity and direction and knowing what they're getting. If you just say swipe and you're not telling them what for, you kind of could be selling them a pup. You could be like giving them a kind of a false lead. So if you, right? Or if you say swipe up to hear this song, they might go in and just play the song, and that's great.
Yeah.
But if you've already seen it in their head, swipe up to follow on Spotify, then you'll get a better result. I guarantee it. Okay, cool.
Amazing.
Let's go to share. I'm just going to kill that. I don't think we need that PowerPoint thing anymore. So I'll close that off.
So originally I thought you could only create swipe up campaigns on Instagram if you had an approved account. So this is news to me as well. I didn't even know you could do this.
That's what we wanted you to think, right? Okay, groovy. So for a swipe up campaign, so this is stories, right? It's in stories, and it's a sorry guys, I'm having trouble multitasking. But essentially, it's a vertical. It's, you know, everyone knows what I'm talking about when I say Instagram stories, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about at any time, unmute yourself so that I can clarify. You know, is that cool?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Man.
So here's my folder of Watermelon Boy assets, and then I have like promo folders for all my singles, right? So this is Boss It Up. I've just got some. This is a new track of mine that's coming, and then I've just recently did a new ad, and I just put it in the folder here. But essentially, I didn't have any music video assets. I didn't really have any artist assets. It's a 3-artist collaboration. So I've used a little bit of stock footage in the cover photo and 15 seconds of audio. I don't think you can hear the audio on the screen share, but this is what it's doing. All right.
Yeah, we can hear that. Hey, look at you. You look great as a cartoon.
Right? Yeah. So that's all it is. And I can show you some other ones if you want. Like I've done previous ones.
Did you create that yourself then?
Yeah, I just used a program called Filmora, Wondershare Filmora. Yeah. It was like $100 for a lifetime license. It's not like you couldn't edit a music video on it because it doesn't like doing something like syncing vocals is really hard. But it's almost an app. Like it's a very easy program to use. It's got lots of built-in effects. Here's the previous one. Got it?
Awesome.
Amazing. So this is the idea. This is what they look like. Now, with that particular one, when the artist who did this cover art for me, I was like, oh, do you do any motion? And he's like, oh, a little bit. I'm like, can you please like animate that for me so that I can use it for an ad? And I had to pay him a little bit more, and it was like, that actually took heaps longer than I thought. But I gave him another $100 or something for the art, and it was happy. So it's all A-okay. Right, that's essentially what we're doing. So, but this is Facebook Ads Manager. If you've ever promoted on Facebook before, you actually have an Ads Manager account. It's like, I don't know whether you can see my URL, but it's like Facebook/Ads Manager. Or you can just Google Facebook Ads Manager, and if you're logged into Facebook, it'll take you there, right? But essentially, you can see your ads in there. You can review like what kind of numbers you're doing, what the spends are, and you can get like an approximation of the success by how much it's costing you per click through. I think.
Gee, that's amazing reach for $25.
$25 a day. That one.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna. Yep. Oh, right. So the total is
lifetime. So
okay.
They vary.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what I might do? I might quickly go to.
And obviously, for anyone out there, like obviously Facebook and Instagram, Facebook owns Instagram, so you can do all your Instagram ads via Facebook ads.
That's where you do them. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you do them. I
so-
find them a lot more effective than I'm trying to do like boosted posts. There are times when I like boosted posts, but once again, it's more about collecting audience data than it is about anything else. So I might
yeah, go for it. Do these show up only when someone looks at your Instagram stories, or are these showing up in between other people's? Like they're obviously just searching their stories, and then this will pop up, targeted to them, sort of thing.
They're scrolling through their stories, and the reason why this is nice is because they say that it's showing now that the data is showing that people are using Instagram stories often with the sound on, which is important as opposed to scrolling. And then secondly, that they're in a discovery mindset. Now, I don't know how much you kind of, I'm not sure how seriously you take that, but that's what the Instas and Spotify's of the world say. So
just had a question.
Yep.
So do you let them, where are we? Do you, we got one down here. Do you let them optimize it for you, or is that your targeting the specific people?
If you're on a Finder mission, if it's a piece of Finder content, I would let them optimize a Finder, but then once you've built an audience, you should be advertising to that audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? So if you've just put in demographic information, like what people like, what age group they are, and all that sort of shit, absolutely let them optimize. But if you're doing, if you've created an audience and that's your audience, and
oh, he means the placements. Sorry, not the audience.
Oh no, fuck no. I'm talking about cutting out the placements, right? Cutting it all out except for Instagram stories on this, right?
Okay,
do you hear me?
Thanks. Yep, that worked.
Yeah, because they will automate your they will try to put you in feeds and all this sort of stuff, and we're literally just making one format, like a portrait style ad, right?
Yeah.
We're not trying to cut that into feeds and all that sort of stuff. Just trying to think if there's an easy. Okay, cool. So anyway, let's go to create, right? So let's just do this. So it's a bit of a fucking spaceship, this fucker. But like, don't let it overwhelm you. If you get lost, Google it. If the results you're getting on your Google don't make any sense to you at all, it's because there's currently two versions. There's a beta version, like an updated version, and an old version. And the reason why your Google results don't make sense, like if it says click this and then click this, and you're just like, that is simply not there, it's because you're on the other version, right? So try to add that into your Google search. That little bit of information will save you hours if you get stuck like me. So I don't know. It's basically you pick a buying type, which is essentially auction. Someone who's a Facebook marketing expert will be able to give you the difference. But essentially, like reach and frequency is you're prepared to pay more to go further by a certain time. Whereas auction is it's just paying for it's just getting the cheapest ad impressions that it can. So I'd hit auction because we're going for and then consideration is traffic, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to pull someone to a website. As far as Facebook ads are concerned, a SoundCloud link is a website, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm going to go, I'm just going to go in here and pull out I've still got a Xelon login. I mean, not still, but I've got a Xelon login, so I can pull in pull out my URI for a track, even though it's not released yet. But I've got to use this login code, so give me a sec. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no worries. This is amazing. Thanks, man.
I need a link.
So the URI is the back end release identification number.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, I'm actually using the URL, so it's the one. It's the one with the web extension on it, rather than just the Spotify one.
Yeah.
So essentially, they're the same. They're the same address. It's just the URL says www.spotify on it. whereas the other one is just Spotify
Gotcha.
colon, literally the difference. So I'm just going to search for Boss It Up. Now I do it probably at release level, because you can choose release level or track level link. I'd probably just do it at release level. Yeah, because it's taking people to the link. So I've got that link in here. Okay, cool. So let's call this Boss It Up, and we'll call it Swipe Up Insta, right? Buying type, auction, A/B testing, test campaign against each. Okay, I think you've got to use 2 ads for that. One of the cool things about these is you can, like, I could do variations on that video. I could use different parts of the song, right? Create the same video with different parts of the song, or I could use the same bit of the song and change the video and make variations on that video. Then I could upload, like, say 6 copies of the same ad, right? And you can get Spotify to A/B test it, and it'll direct the spend towards the better performing ad, which is super cool.
Wow.
Campaign budget optimization, right? Daily budget, let's call it, I'm not Moneybags Humpling this month, let's call it $10 a day, all right? Go through next. Website, that's where we're headed. Okay, dynamic creative, right, budget and schedule. Okay, we're gonna start then, set an end date, because you gotta check that, because otherwise they're just gonna keep fucking you forever. So I'm gonna say like about a 4-week campaign. I might actually, like, generally I'm doing a Friday release date, so I'll do this one to end on the Thursday, right? And I'll get it to start on next Friday on release date at like 7 a.m., right? 7:10 a.m. Cool. And let's do this actually till 1st of October. Cool. Now use saved audiences. Okay. So these are audiences I already have, and then custom audiences are here. So here, these are my custom audiences. So as you can see, these are my kids that make my custom audiences. They're good. Okay. Instagram, 95% Watermelon Boy. Now, these are audiences I've made based on already having viewed Instagram ads for my profile, stuff like that. And then I've got engaged as well. So you can see that's an audience of 14,000. You know, this one here is an audience of 20,000. If they don't say Watermelon Boy, they are. But if they say KM, they give them a note. But so I might do, there's 25,000 people here that have swiped up, that have watched my swipe up views, watched my swipe up videos. And there's, you know, what else we got? We got, 35,000 people here that have watched at least 95% of an Instagram ad of mine before. So they're potentially. Awesome. So you can also exclude people there. So you might want to exclude people that already like your page, right? Basically, you have to have an audience to exclude, right? And then you might not want to double service it to people. So you can exclude people in that depending on the audience you've built. I reckon 65 is probably a little bit senior for Watermelon Boy. So we might change that down to say like 50. And then I might make my younger end, like, I don't really care if teenagers like my stuff, that's cool, right? I don't have any cuss words or anything. Now, automatic placements, this is the important bit you don't fucking take off. Get into manual placements. That's where you want that shit, right? Now, we could do Facebook stories with this, but like, who's using Facebook stories?
Not as popular, no.
Fucking horrendous, man. Like, they're trying to make like, they really should give up. It sucks. Not as bad as YouTube stories, but
YouTube has stories? Oh my God.
Yeah, it sucks. So let's take platforms right here, like, and then we're on Instagram. Okay. Now we take out feed, we take out Explorer, right? And we go to Instagram stories. You could use Messenger stories and Facebook stories. Why not? but I'm using an Instagram audience. So I'm really happy to just click it at that, right? So that's how you just do it as an Instagram story. Okay. Optimize ad for link clicks, cost control, impressions. Right. So look, man, like this is essentially, we're nearly there. Let's call this ad.
Yeah.
It.
So if someone wanted to, like, essentially you can use all this information and you could use this for any website you wanted to do. Like if you have an Apple Music account, you could do the same sort of thing. Or if someone's a blogger, they could put their blog in, or, you know, it doesn't have to specifically be about Spotify, does it?
Yeah, that's right. The only reason why Apple, like kind of sucks ass is they don't give you as much, like they don't give the audience as much of an option to follow you.
Yeah.
So the reason why I love Spotify for this, like let's be honest, man, Apple pays more. Also, there are territories that Apple is in that Spotify isn't. Like I'm collaborating with like West African artists and stuff that, like, you know, the guys from Ghana and Nigeria and stuff, and they literally don't have Spotify there, and they've got Apple Music.
Wow.
Right? So people are using Apple Music, right? So I'd be primo for trying to get people onto Apple Music for but look, to simplify this whole thing, another neat way is to use a smart link. Like we give everyone SoundClick links with Xelon. Yep. Now that means that when the audience member swipes up, they get a landing page that allows them to choose their platform. But every time you ask for a click, your odds of getting that click go down.
Oh, so because you're clicking and then clicking again.
That's right. That's right. So the more times you ask somebody, so like, for example, say on your YouTube page, if you put link to Facebook, link to Instagram, link to Twitter, all that sort of shit in the caption, that's actually better than having your link tree there.
Yeah.
If you have your link tree there, then someone can click through and then they get to the landing page and then they're just like less likely to click through again.
Yeah.
I like directing towards, I like putting the Spotify logo on it, make it real nice and clear that that's where they're headed, right?
Yeah.
And then just pushing them and then putting the link just to that. Okay, single image or video. Cool. Add media. Oh, where's the link? It asked me for the link. Oh yeah, here we go. There was that Spotify album. Does that? Yeah,
I guess you're kind of betting that if someone jumps onto your Spotify and likes your stuff, they're going to eventually go onto your Facebook and all that sort of stuff. Instagram.
Oh yeah. The great thing about Spotify as well is it's got your Instagram link in it. It's actually a really neat way to check kind of in real time when people are discovering you, because I'll notice people following me on Spotify. I'll notice them following me on Instagram, like in real time, but then the Spotify, it's only when it updates. And it only updates like once or twice a day at the moment.
Yeah.
It was updating in real time, like only a few months ago, your follow account.
Yeah.
And now it's only like about 3 in the afternoon or something. So I realized
that's on your artist account, guys, as well. There's an app for that if you're not already aware of that, which is fantastic. Have we lost you there? Hello.
But the way I'm getting following up.
There we go. You gotta love.
You lost me?
No, we got you. You gotta love terrible Australian internet on podcast Zooms. The Joe Bogan podcast with terrible Australian internet.
If everyone wants to do me a favor, I just want to show you something on Spotify. Right. So if anyone's got Spotify there, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Okay. If you can just go into the search thing and type in Watermelon Boy, as you would expect to spell it. And if you go through to my page, and if you see under like the profile there. There's like a
Yep.
thing, play, follow, and shit like that.
Fans also like about
Just
concepts.
click follow there for me.
Yep.
Yeah, above that there's follow. Yep. Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Right, now back to the ad. Right. So, yeah, cool. So we're just back at the ad now. We've got to add the media, right? So I've got that video here from before. You upload the video. These are previous things. Okay, boss it up. No. Where are we? Boss it up, swipe up. That was the one. Okay, so this will upload and probably compete with our conversation. That's cool. Now, you don't even really need primary text. It's completely up to you, but you can put primary text. You essentially, like, you generally use.
What's primary text mean?
It's like a post. It's like the words in a post, right?
Yeah.
So depending on where you put the ad, sometimes there's font, but like in Instagram story, it takes up the whole screen, so there's no for a story. So you can remove. You don't need the primary text, but what you
have the post in your actual video. Have the text in your video, sort of thing.
Yeah, but it's mainly for, I think, when you're doing ads like on feeds or something like that. It's not for stories. So you don't need a display link either, right? But you do the call to action, and I always do. That's the call to action. Listen now.
Listen now.
Languages, don't worry. Yeah, that's yep, that one.
Cool.
Languages, no problem. Offline events, cool. And they have to be approved anyway. It often takes sort of about a day to approve. If you're doing something on a Sunday or whatever, and you like mid-weekend, it might take a little longer. But generally, I'd leave about a day.
Yeah.
But look, guys, that's essentially it. Like the most of it is you make the content, right? You make something that's going to be a little captivating ad, and then the main thing about the Facebook Ads Manager platform is that it's about chipping away all the shit you don't need, because they'll automate as much as they can. And if you want to do a swipe up campaign, then you've got to just unselect lots of stuff like feeds and all that. But essentially, this is what we do. Now, if you do that and you spend $10 a day, and you have a decent ranging kind of, okay, cool. You also do get warnings here. So this says wasn't published for a reason, and then it will just give you the warnings. So I'm not like super fluent with it, so I always have to do the account does not have access to Pixel. Okay, well, fuck the Pixel. I don't need the Pixel at this point. Okay.
What is Facebook Pixel?
I do a little bit with. Essentially, it's an ID tag. So when someone's checked, when someone's signed in, it tracks that person. You can put a code in your website.
Yeah. That shows that, like, if someone's gone to you, then create an audience of people that have been to your website. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it basically just tracks them back to the website, tracks the website to the person, sort of thing. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be for ads. They could have found your website on Google. They could have found your website on Google, gone to your website, and if they're logged into Facebook in their browser, then it will track that they've been there. And even if you've never had any Facebook connection with them before, it'll track them and create them based on those. Facebook's hectic. I feel like we're about to get into some conspiracy theories here or something. Yeah, absolutely. We're all going to be like COVID vaccines by the end of this Zoom. Well,
man, like there's been articles about people knowingly posting, like knowingly scheduling posts about like actual deliberate fake news, like political fake news, just to test it,
Wow.
and the ads getting approved.
Oh
And
my
it's
God.
like, yeah, pretty harsh.
Oh man,
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah.
man.
So
So you reckon that's pretty much, you'd say, your number one kind of marketing technique? That's the most value for money out of any other marketing, online social media marketing.
for audience growth, yeah, man. Like it's so tangible because you're not hoping for like you're not just like praying that they'll read you on the blog and then go find you on Spotty. That makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like Instagram's probably the most popular app still, isn't it? Really, like I know a lot of people are on TikTok and whatnot, but
Yeah. And are you guys seeing these ads? Do you guys go off mute for a second? Tell me if you've seen these ads come up for artists.
I think I have.
Yeah.
Like, you mean other
100%.
people's?
Huh. And have they been indie acts? Have they been terrible? Have they been like high profile acts? Or...
Some of the ones I'll get, I got some interesting playlist ones. The other day I got one which was like music for existential pondering. It was a Spotify playlist. I was like, I'm not sure what market I'm in, like how them target.
What have you been looking at? I've just got one for Woolworths.
I think it's just super chill,
There you
just
go.
like work playlist. It's so funny.
Here's one for Woolworths.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Like they need more money right now.
Yeah. They just created some deal where they're like, can we shut down all the other shops? They're like, yeah,
Australian
guys.
beers. That's network targeted marketing here. Manhattan cocktail. That's me.
So, yeah, so I feel like it's a bit of it's not untapped, but it's like there will be a run
It's
on
not too
this shit,
spammy.
right?
It's not too spammy.
Yeah, but like it's also not too hard to do, which means pretty soon every motherfucker's going to be doing it, right? So
yeah,
the first video.
Arlo, your ad worked really well, mate. Thanks a lot.
That is targeted marketing.
You know how we talk about our phones listening to us?
Yeah.
So I've never seen an ad on my Instagram TV / whatever videos you call it. And it's just come up with an app called Reels where you can make your own digital content.
There you go. Yeah, beautiful.
And Kashmir is the lead guy behind it.
So the other thing I want to tell you is there's a whole bunch of marketing, like third-party kind of marketing guys that essentially want you to subscribe so you can do this. Like you could probably learn a fair bit from those guys, but I reckon you could also just spend that $30 a month or whatever they're asking on ads and have a bit more of a direct kind of result. Do some YouTubing if this is something you want to do. Like figure it out. Just say setting up Facebook ads, putting music marketing, Facebook ads, that kind of stuff. There's a few good ones. There's one called Indiepreneur, which is a horrible word, but they do some long form discussions. It's good. There's a guy called like Andrew Stockwell or something. He's a bit of a nerd, but he's like the only guy that's doing like really good kind of in-depth like ads, videos on running these ads. And I just want to talk to you about this as I'm just going to reinforce why I reckon we can grow followers as opposed to say getting on playlists as a priority. When you've got a regular release plan and you grow your followers, every time you put a release out, your song will end up in the release radars of those people. If you get added to a decent playlist, you'll get a sugar spike in your streams. You may get some follows from that, but like less and less will you get follows from being added to a playlist, unless it's a really specifically a discovery playlist, like like a best new tracks, fresh new artists or something like that. If it's just, and especially if you're making something that's a little bit more laid back and a little bit more emojis and not be getting followers, right?
Sorry, I missed that last bit.
I
Missed that
really
last 20
suggest
seconds.
that chasing followers. Sorry, Cuz. Okay, what I was saying is that you could be getting really good plays, which might pay for itself, might give you some money, but it's sometimes hard to translate playlist plays into followers unless it's specifically a discovery playlist where people are going there to find new music, right? So what happens is when you fall off that playlist is that your fucking monthly followers start to plummet and it feels shit, right? When you grow your followers, every time you put a release out, those followers will be getting updates saying that you've got a new single. They'll even get emails, right, saying there's a new single out by someone you follow, right? So if you're spending like, say, $500 a single or $200 a single or whatever it is, on just like constantly putting ads to new people saying, here, follow. You might be spending $1 or $2 per follow. You might be spending 50 cents a follow, right? You might spend $10 and get 40 followers every day. You might spend $10 and get 5 followers, right? But potentially these are people that you can continue to service with your music for the entire length of your career. Yeah. So it might take them listening to your song 200 times for it to pay for that, for itself, right? But when you consider, like, if you do that over 10 singles, or if you do that over like a few singles and then an album over the next sort of 5, 6, 7 years or whatever that you're releasing music, then it'll be like reasonably easy for these people to listen to your song many hundreds of times and for them to pay for itself. But I think growing the audience rather than trying to shortcut it is like really super important. We've been going for what, hour 20 or something. You want to cut to questions or?
Yeah, does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I had a question. So you were saying before with different things like your link tree and like every time you ask them to do another click, the chances of the next click is lower. So I work in marketing and I've had like ideas for doing like a full like artist website and like how I kind of combine all these different elements and stuff I've got, and doing some like UX little kind of bits to it, but I haven't published it or anything. Like, what's your thoughts on like artists having their own kind of websites? Is that just adding another trail of clicks required to eventually get your Spotify to follow you? Or what do you think? What's your kind of experience with that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Like if it was 1999, I'd be like, yeah, get yourself a website on the fucking internet and that's how you get all the bitches, right? What are people going to your website for and what are they going to do there? That's like the question. So my thing would be a website might be a great merch store, right? Have a merch store when you know you've got an audience that's big enough for you to warrant having merch. So if you've got 5 or 10,000 Spotify followers and 10,000 Facebook likes or 20,000 Facebook likes and you've got an audience that you've already built to with marketing and you know that you've funneled the people that are listening to your music and you've got, you know, a few 100,000 or a few million streams, right? Then in that sense, you might want to have a website so you can have a web store. The other thing about it is if you're doing something that is potentially can get ranking on a search term, then a website might be a dope way to go about it because then you can really play with the SEO ranking and the search engine optimization and stuff if that's your field. But you'd have to be okay. Like I'll give you an example. I've got this side project thing that does really well called 8-Bit Arcade that me and Ash from work do, and essentially we do these covers of like current songs in like a chiptune style. So I'll go back to share screen, right? Boom, boom, boom. Yep. So we've got this project. That's me and Ash there, right? And it's like that does really well. Look, some followers there.
Oh
so
wow!
This is like makes money. It pays for like Watermelon Boy and other sort of endeavors. So like,
Amazing.
you know, we do like 8-bit Tool. Which, so in an instance like that, where it's not original music, it's a kind of niche. That might be, like a website might be a really good thing for this project, because if we put in like chiptune 8-bit music, right, and we try starting to rank for that, then we might be able to get people off Google to the site. You hear me?
Oh my God, that is so amazing. Yeah, we got you. Just amazed. That's so good. I love it. I love how the side project kind of fun thing you've done is just like paying for the passion project. That amazes me.
Yeah, completely, dude. Completely. And look, one of the reasons why is that we produced shitloads of music with 8-bit arcade. So that like the discovery on that is huge, and that organic reach on it is huge, because there's stuff coming out every week, right? So it's something that we just churn the music out. We've got a formula where we do it, and we're using the same synth patches all the time, and you know, automated mastering, and it's not costing a great deal. So
Yeah.
so that's something that we can just do in bulk and just appeal to that weird niche of the people, the 400,000 people that want to stream a Tool cover in 8-bit or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah, perfect. That's like that's really helpful.
I've just like, for my website, I've just got a landing page. So if anyone wants to search for Sunday or Colour Castle,
Yep.
It's just simple.
Yep. Also, you get to hang on to your domain, right?
Yeah.
If the point comes, you know, because if you can make $10 on a T-shirt, like how many fucking streams is that? You know, like 20,000 streams or something crazy, right?
Yeah.
So every unit of merch you can sell is like, it's worth a lot more than every like person you can put over to Spotify.
And plus that's advertising as well. If someone's wearing your T-shirt, they're advertising you.
Yeah, but importantly, grow your audience, recognize the size of it, play to that audience. You know, if you know how big your audience is and you're thinking, should I get a run of vinyl going? You know, the answer will present itself. Because like something like that's expensive, right? So if you know how big your audience is, you'll know the answer to that question. And your audience isn't just your Spotify followers. It's kind of like, it's all your engagement, you know?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions, Arlo.
Lovely.
So first things first, 8-bit arcade. That was actually a night going back 10 years ago in Adelaide on Thursday nights. It was called 8-bit, and it was 8-bit arcade and 8-bit kids, and it was like a group of DJs that ran a Thursday night. It was fucking sick.
Well, I'm glad that didn't trademark
it. Yeah, that's it. And I was going to say before, Christian, too, when you were talking about YouTube, like having stories and being like, what the fuck? They've actually, I watched a video just yesterday. They've actually spent the last 2 years designing essentially like a part to the website where it's going to be exactly like TikTok. So it's dedicated to people that want to upload 10-second videos. And they're really going to go after like the TikTok market of those 10-second short videos. So that's pretty interesting.
Right, because they've got YouTube Music as well. They've got like a whole bunch of different YouTube apps that are coming out, don't they? Yeah,
they're starting to really go hard on it. But I was going to say, so like for me, I mean, I'm probably a little bit different to most guys, but I've just started a new project, literally like launched it a week and a half, maybe 8 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And my genre, I'm going for that like big room festival sound that's kind of died off from the cool kids. But it's one of those, I guess like it's like R&B 10 years ago where no one said they liked R&B because it wasn't cool, but deep down they liked R&B. I think it's the same thing with that big room sound. It's always going to be like, it'll always catch people's ear. Anyway, so that's the project.
Didn't Spotify just like make R&B just like fucking so dope again because it was like that perfect streaming music? Like,
yeah, exactly, 100%. But my questions were like in regards to this. So like I've launched it across all the platforms, like 5 or 6 platforms. So firstly, if I start doing paid advertising, am I going to then, when I don't pay for advertising, see a complete decline in any of the reach that I get because I've stopped paying them.
I know what you're saying. Well, this is why it's kind of like reaching for followers is so important, because once you've got those followers onto your page, it doesn't matter whether it's your Insta or your Spotify or whatever, is that you can constantly be servicing that audience. Yep. So this is why it's different to sort of paying for streams or like paying for playlist promotion or something like that. But the most important thing is to try to go out and connect with these people. And the numbers are phenomenal, you know, like you'll be getting 1 click for every 10,000 ads that gets run and shit like that, right? It's like, if you were to look at it that way, it'd be really disheartening.
Yeah.
But the main thing that the main way to look at it is that actually, no, I found someone that had never heard of me before, and now they know me, and now they follow me.
Do you think
potentially a fan?
Do you think it's important to, like, if I'm going to post an Instagram picture, is it super important for me to link that and post the exact same thing to Twitter, Facebook, YouTube? Like, should you be posting different stuff on each of those platforms, or do you think it's important to keep the set? Like, yeah, for instance, if I put up a 10-second teaser of my new track, right, and I write a blurb saying, "Hey guys, check out my new track," should I be doing that exact same post on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter? Or should I be using the platforms differently, like using Twitter for just my speech bubble thoughts, and then using Instagram just for photos, and using Facebook just for videos? Like, what do you think?
I'd get multiple uses out of any bit of content you can, anytime you can. Yep. So there's nothing to stop you putting your random thoughts about what happened to you at the Quickie Mart in Twitter. Like, that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
But if you've got new press shots, and they should also be on your Twitter too, because you'd be surprised how many people will flick over to, they'll get off tweets and reply and flick over to media to see what you've got, right? So anytime you've got a piece of content, yeah, you get multiple uses out of that piece of content, because there's literally no loss.
Yeah. If you do a funny tweet, screenshot it, post it to your Instagram stories.
Yes.
You know, I constantly
calendar and post it 4 days later. Yeah.
I always screenshot if I have a funny Facebook story and it gets heaps of likes. I screenshot it and put it my Instagram stories, because then, you know, hopefully someone's going to see that and then either add me or follow Colour Castle on Facebook. They're like, oh, I can go see funny statuses or something, or maybe they're
both
status.
Yeah, and both the audiences are throttled, so they're not identical audiences. So even if you've got 1,500 people that follow you on Facebook, 1,500 people that follow you on Instagram, only 150 people are going to see it on both of those platforms, and they're not the same people.
Got a question from Johnny as well. ClickFunnels, I'm not sure what that is.
What do you can you go off mute for a sec?
What do you think of ClickFunnels? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're pretty quiet there. Do you want to turn your volume up, Johnny?
You got me now?
Still a little bit quiet.
More?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Getting there.
ClickFunnels has suddenly been taken over by a lot of beat makers to sell their beats like an online store. It's actually like for funneling. You know, you can put in any hashtag, whatever you want, like 20 of them, and it funnels in all different aspects of whatever marketing you're doing. But there's these guys called what is it? It's Legion Beats, and they've made over $1 million from just putting up beats on ClickFunnels, using this marketing tool for selling a product, but they're selling beats. And I've put one up. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty insane, and it's mad. You know, like there's a guy called Gabe, and you can go on, and I got his template, and I used it just for Johnny Sonic music and or one-on-one, you know, the tutorial stuff that I do, or the pop bellies, whatever. And I'll tell you something, it's like it gains a lot of traffic, and if you don't have a publishing deal, if you don't have a publishing deal, you can get up there as well and just put your music up for free and put it, you know, if anyone is looking at ClickFunnels and going beats, or you want to buy beats or want to buy tracks, you know, I think it's a brand new way of selling music, and a lot of people are doing it. What do you think about it?
I've not heard of it. I've got the website up now. That's interesting. Might have to take a look at it. Have you heard of that, Arlo?
unfortunately, it's one of those terms that's being used for something else before it was a trademark. So I know of the idea of of a click funnel, but it's not the service you're talking about. So
No. It's the actual site ClickFunnels, because it's the funneling.
Yeah.
It's the funneling of marketing. So it's that they've actually, this kid from the States, whatever, he's put it clickfunnels.com. So he's basically using the funneling marketing strategy. But these guys, these beat makers called from Legion Beats, have sold all their beats on ClickFunnels, and they have they've made $1 million each. You know what I mean? And I thought that was
so. Just to clarify, that's an online marketing service that those guys have employed.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you can use those principles are sound, right? And that's essentially what we're doing when we do this. We remake these custom audiences with Facebook. Okay. So the one that I when we did we didn't even talk about the Kids at Midnight marketing campaign, but when we did the Kids
we should do that.
at Midnight marketing campaign, I'll just quickly do it. I made 2 videos, right? So very lucky. We got an email late last year that somewhere along the lines, someone from TV Land had heard one of the songs and said, we want to use this song as like the big epic final scene at the end of a Netflix series called Never Have I Ever. So it's this rom-com, and it really suits Jane's music. Big romantic pash at the end at make-out point, right? And the camera flies off, and the credits come up, and the whole song plays, right? Really awesome placement. So this year, when the album came out, like that got released at the end of April, that series, and it was an automatic spike in her traction because people had heard the song. So this year, when the album came out, part of our marketing strategy was we did 2 videos. One was literally, we just ripped it off YouTube. Someone had taken all the scenes of these characters interacting and put her song behind it. We literally just downloaded that song off YouTube with like keepvid.biz or whatever it is, and re-uploaded that onto her page as an ad, right? And then like smashed it out to audiences that we thought were an appropriate demographic for people that would have liked that ad, right? Would have liked that show. Then we also did a live performance of her track Boys Like You, just like an electric guitar and her singing, and we put that out as well as a video. Now we smashed those ads out to sort of appropriate audiences, and they were both like campaigns. So people were encouraged to like her Facebook page. The Facebook page went from like 1,500 to about 7,500 in just under a month. And also from that, we got millions and millions of, maybe not millions, well, whatever, hundreds of thousands of views of the videos and people watching it through. I could then create audiences from those, and we serviced swipe up ad albums via Instagram, just to announce that the album was out and say, hey, you remember this track from this show? Well, that artist's album is out now. So we did that. So that's essentially the funnel principle. So you take a piece of content that's engaging, you shoot it out to as many people as possible. Then you create an audience based on their engagement with that piece of content. Then you do the ask then. So that the most important part about the funnel is that the first bit isn't come buy my shit, come listen to my, like, it doesn't have a sell in it. The first bit is just an engaging piece of content, right? That's the base of the funnel. Then as it goes down, you can make your asks bigger and bigger. So swipe up to listen to the record, right? Is that. Then next, you might want to make an audience of people that have commented, made engagements, have been really engaged. So like fans, very much fans, rather than just people that are interested. That's a real pointy end of the funnel. Once you get to the pointy end of the funnel, then you can start doing the bigger asks like buy my beats, buy my merchandise, that kind of thing. But you're essentially refining down to your super fans. And that's the whole principle behind it. So if this ClickFunnels is a marketing business, I'd say that's a principle they're employing. They're using their knowledge of social media marketing to kind of to get an engaging piece of content, and then get that audience down to the people who are most likely to spend the money, and then targeting those people with really specific requests for their money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like any good sales book will tell you, if you have 1,000 fans that are really dedicated to you and really love you, that will spend $100 on something of yours a year, that's $100,000 a year. So, you know, probably
That's more than a career, right?
you're better off having 1,000 super fans than 100,000 meh fans.
Yeah. I'm going back to, am I on screen share now or on face?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's screen share.
Okay, let me go back to this. So one other stunt we did is we came across this company called 5 Tier, and things are a little quiet in New York at the moment, right? So we were able to get a very small electronic billboard thing on like fucking Broadway and 42nd Street or something for the album.
Yeah.
But not much at all. It was like 500 USD.
Wow.
So that's what I would call a stunt. So there we go. It's Jane's thing. That's what I'd call a marketing stunt, because where'd it go? Here it is. Because the whole point of this ad wasn't that a lot of people were going to see this billboard. The whole point of this ad is that it's fucking shit hot content, right?
Yes.
Now, this was up either on release day or a day after release day, but we held on to that for a week because she was already getting press, because she'd reached out to all the blogs and we'd secured premieres and we'd done all that sort of stuff. She was getting press on that day. So a week later, we're like, hey, themusic.com.au, check out, like, I got this fucking Times Square billboard, right? And so that actually became an article on, like, let's have a look, the music shoots at midnight.
So a lot of these blogs and websites, they want a story. They don't want just, they're not just going to post anything.
Exactly. Like, the thing about it is that you can ask someone to write about you, but it's much better if you give them a story.
You're writing the story for them, essentially.
Yeah. So do you know the story, like, news is only something someone doesn't want you to hear, all the rest is PR, right?
Yeah.
You've heard that idea. So yeah, so you just make things easy. So we had a $3,500 budget for the album, and so to put like $750 Australian aside to do a stunt like this that ensured that we get like more press and get like really good engagement on the socials and stuff, that wasn't a hard sell at all. So
Yeah.
I really recommend, if you're starting to get into the like thousands of like what your budget might be, if you can spend like, even if it's small, actually, if you've got a marketing plan and you can include a stunt in there somehow, like, then that's something that could be cheap, that is not like, that can get you traction. And it's all about trying to get as much press and coverage for your money as possible, right?
Rufio's just said, imagine spending 500 US on billboards in Bali. You'd be on every corner. Do they even? Yeah, they do have billboards in Bali.
Yeah. So you could do that, right? Absolutely. But I wouldn't do it without like getting heaps and heaps of photos and video of it, and then just like exploiting the fuck out of that. Like, that's the main.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Amazing.
Yeah. So I'll quickly just bring up our marketing campaign, because I've talked about most of the elements in it.
Absolutely.
So I'll quickly just bring it up and show it. So I'm really struggling with this sharing the screen, because my taskbar's. Okay, cool.
I think if your webcam got any closer, we'd be like just looking at your forehead.
Out my nose, yeah. It's a horrendous webcam, actually. Okay, cool. So this is how we spent $3,700, right? So the top thing are these two videos. One was a Never Have I Ever video. One was a performance of Boys Like You, right? We put $250 behind those, and they like was shit hot. They did like really good, like hundreds of thousands of views. People were like literally hundreds of shares as well. That was the main thing.
Wow.
So one of them was a live performance. So there's people that are like, oh, how cool is this? It's a really unique thing. Because maybe they knew the song, or maybe they'd heard it, or maybe they hadn't heard it. But I was saying to Christian before we started, like huge part of this audience was in Latin America, which I didn't anticipate, but maybe the show did really well there. So because we had the show that anchor on, it was really cool. So then I did 2 Instagram campaigns servicing people that had watched 75% of those videos, and then a lookalike audience of people that have watched 75% of those videos. Only $200 on those. Just recently, I took budget off the original 75% watchers and put it onto the lookalike audience, because that was massively outperforming the people that had actually watched the video, which I thought was incredible. So the lookalike audience, the lookalike audience outperformed the people that had actually watched the video, which I didn't anticipate. So the other thing we did was 4 Spotify ad placements. These are audio ads. They're 30-second audio ads. If you go to Spotify Ad Studio, you can set up your own Spotify ads, and they're not expensive. Yeah, 250 Australian dollars is the minimum buy-in. They don't work, right? You don't get click-through on them. Like, they actually suck for that. But what you can do is you can send Spotify an email and you can tell them that you've bought an ad. And if you're doing a pitch for playlisting and you can tell them you've bought an ad. Now, I don't know for sure that it works like this.
Wow.
But 2 out of 2 times I've tried this, I've got Spotify editorial playlisting, and it's probably just a coincidence, right?
Wow.
But everyone likes you to support them.
That's awesome.
I told them that we did the top 4. No, that's not this one. Where is it? I told them that we did the top 4 markets, which is true: US, UK, Canada, and Australia. So they were $250 each. So that was $1,000. The numbers on that are crap. I don't expect much from that, but you will get people hearing Jane's song and her voice saying, "Hi, this is Kids at Midnight here. You can hear my new album." So there is a little bit of exposure, but like we know better now than to just be like doing things for exposure. We've got to have a return path, and nowadays when we market, we've got a return path. So that was that. So then I did a Tone Den ad. So Tone Den basically Tone Den taught me to do Facebook ads. I've still got a subscription to it. It's a Facebook marketing platform. It's pretty expensive. I wouldn't necessarily advise that people get it, but it did teach me a lot. But I think there are other ways you can learn about Facebook ads and doing it. But essentially, I made another swipe up ad, just marketing towards similar styles of music. So not an audience that we built, but just brand new customers that also like similar style of music. Brand new fans, I'll say, not customers.
Amazing.
We also did an Instagram ad that was 1-by-1. Now this one was like the cover, and then people swiped it and they got a preview of one of the songs with a little bit of a kind of video thing. They swiped it, they got a preview of another song. They swiped it, they got a preview of another song. And then the last was the back cover with the track list. So in a way, the square ad kind of, it mimicked what it's like to look at a CD, like front cover, tracks, back cover kind of thing. So that was a really nice thing. We paid editorial in Happy Mag. So this was one of the few editorials we paid for. It was $470, which is, pretty expensive, but it was 2 weeks. It was a newsletter. And we did a whole bunch of other free kind of blogs as well. So, we were prepared to pay a little bit for some to just guarantee that we had. The other thing is, if you're buying blog coverage, which can happen, like you say, I want a banner, I want a story and this and that, and they give you a pricing for that, or they give you a price back and say, this is what we can offer for that. You don't need to use any leverage on those people. So like if you're getting potentially free blog coverage from a different blog, you can offer those guys a premiere because they're getting it for free. So the people that you're paying for, you don't need to offer them special like premieres or anything. Yep, and then that was the USA digital billboard was, you know, $750. So that was our entire marketing campaign, but that's a new artist's album. And a year ago, I wouldn't have known where to start. I probably would have hired a PR for like a publicist for $2,500. And then, and then I don't know what I would have done with, like what we would have done with the rest, but you know, this is like really empowering because like we're in charge of our own marketing now, and we can draw people back towards the platforms. And then if you were to do it at a bigger scale, you just increase the budget, you know. And it's like it's this thing that's so incredibly scalable that you can literally do it from like $5 a week or as much as you want to spend.
I guess this is a completely different approach to a lot of DJs, and especially probably a lot of people in the community for Hot Sunday Records that would be primarily looking at in-flight and servicing their records to DJs and just trying to, you know, a lot of people focus on like the club charts and that sort of thing. But right now, that's not really a thing, you know. So people are looking for things to actually, you know, create that exposure, that revenue, those fans.
Well, I want to go back to Scott's point that he was making earlier about having like a style of music that might still be big globally, but might be a little bit off the heat locally. Like you might not do well trying to promote like big minor key trance house kind of like festival stuff to Australian DJs, especially now. But if you would, instead of spending $750 or $1,000 or whatever it is to like a DJ promo pool to try to get the DJs to play the track so that then audience can find it via the DJs, you can cut out the middleman, spend that money, and you'll connect with people in Croatia and Russia and Latin America and stuff who are hot on that music, who actually give a fuck about it and they care about it, and they're not going to like, you know, like be snooty about it or faddish about it. They're going to be going, oh, actually, I really connect with this and it matters to me. So it's more important than trying to be cool to the cool kids locally. Just fucking create your own audience. Like bypass the gatekeepers. Yeah. That's what this whole thing's about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, getting those plays and fans on Spotify, you know, if someone listens to Spotify religiously, they're not going to jump onto Apple Music or start using YouTube. They're going to probably use Spotify forever. And you might do well in a Traxsource chart, a Beatport chart, or an ARIA chart, or the Cool Cuts chart, but that changes and you'll drop out of that chart. Whereas if you get 1 million plays on Spotify, it's going to stay as 1 million plays on Spotify. That's always going to be.
Or ideally, if you get 1 million followers, right?
Yeah. So it's probably long term, it's much more sustainable to be looking to grow that actual following and create real fans rather than focus on charts that might not really mean anything in a month's time.
Mate of mine, Raf, we had an abridged chat like this not long ago, and he makes kind of heavy dubstep and under the name Big Boss, and it's really good shit. Yeah. But it's like
yeah, we went to school together.
Yeah, okay, so you know Raf, he's a legend, right?
Yeah.
So really, like it's off boil as far as fads go, like heavy dubstep.
Yeah.
But the audience is still fucking huge. So like, there's no point trying to be cool with it. Like, find the audience, and social media marketing is a great way to find the audience. And the only thing I suggested to him is like, maybe try, when you're first trying to target fans, like try to target new heavy dubstep acts, because there'd be a lot of people that liked Skrillex and Noisier and stuff like that in 2012 on Facebook, and then haven't been engaging with those acts since, right? So, but if someone likes a new act that is in that genre, then the chances are they'll like you.
Someone's just, Iden's just asked, how often should you study the analytics behind your campaigns and ongoing marketing for older and new releases? So like, would that be updating the demographics? Is that kind of what you mean?
Yeah, okay. So you have to have something to look at. So by the time I was about 4 singles in with Watermelon Boy, and I'd done swipe ups on all of them, I could tell what was expensive, what was a shit click-through rate, and what was a good one. And at those points, I would actually just take budget out of my current ad and dump it on an old ad that had good data. And if someone's going through to a song and it's not your latest single, but they like that song and it's only 2 months old, they're not going to give a fuck, right?
Yeah.
You're better off to get them to your page on a song they like than you are to try to jam the new song down their throat if it's not working. So the main thing about that is you look at your data when you've got data to compare it to.
Awesome. That's great.
Do you reckon there's anyone out there that's getting really good traction without paying for advertising?
That's a good question.
It's either their label would be paying for the advertising, or it would be them, or they're probably someone that's been in the industry for 10 to 20 years, maybe. Like Calvin Harris. I reckon Calvin Harris would still have. Did they use heaps of marketing?
I don't know.
Those SoundCloud rappers probably didn't.
There would have been eras where you didn't. But if the question is like now or in the next 6 months, is anyone going to get really like any sort of like released musicians, like musicians with a commercial product, any of them going to do well without having a marketing budget? That's it.
It's really tricky because I've got like 2 tracks that look like they're going to be coming out on a couple of labels, and it's like the first 2 tracks under this new project. But all of them, across all my platforms, they've all got like 200 to 300 followers, and it's literally my friends who I've sent invites to. Because and so what I'm trying to work out is, while I don't have any music to advertise or sample or do demos of, because I'm obviously not going to do that if it's going to be coming out. I've got nothing. I've got no content to post that's relevant to the music that I'm making, because I can't release any of the music. So it's really hard for me to work out how to grow the audience before that music's ready to be released.
Yeah, I'd be okay. In that, my instinct for that is to go like look towards sub catalog. So I'd be starting to look at things that like maybe a cover, a bootleg. If there's something that you can, maybe you want to give it away as a free SoundCloud link, but put a follow gate, so that they have to follow you on Spotify or on Instagram or something before they can get the free download. And then you can market that. So like, I would be, in that instance, like I'd be using bootlegs that were your genre, or like, maybe a mixtape, or I don't know, mixtapes are a little bit kind of off the boil now, but.
So it's funny, like I'm doing a monthly mix, exactly what you just said. So I've launched like a monthly mix, and I released the first one, put it on SoundCloud. I made like a 1-minute promo video of the mix, and used like all the artists. I used their logos, I used their own live videos, and sampled it together to say, hey, in this mixtape, we've got Uber Jack, we've got blah, blah, blah. And it's got 26 views on YouTube, like, so no one's seen it, and it's basically been irrelevant. And so it's like, how do you
use that? If you've only posted that on YouTube, you've got to post that on Instagram. You've got to download that and then upload that to your Twitter. Put that everywhere. Make as much use of it as you can, I guess.
But when you got 200 followers on each of those pages, that's why no one's seeing it. Whereas if I do it on my Rufio page that's got 5,000, it's going to be a bunch more people to see it.
Cross promote. Use your old page to build your new one.
If you get views on if you use a Gmail account and you go over to the promotions tab, it's really likely that they've got a spend $75 and get $100 on Google ad credits, right? If you do that and you put a budget in of like $200, $250, and of that, like 100 will be a free credit, and you'll end up spending sort of $120 or something like that. You might get like a significant amount of views. I did a music video that sat like with fuck all views for a while, and then I just did a YouTube ad on it where it just came up as a suggested video, and it became like 30,000 views. So that's legit. And then there's comments and shit on there as well, so it's good. It
was good advice you gave at that Carlton Club talk. Like, how do you double your Instagram comments? Just reply and ask them a question.
Exactly. Don't reply without asking a question. Yeah.
You can do that on Facebook and anything, I guess. That
sounds so dumb, but it's so true. It's like, that's how you instantly double your engagement, is ask a question instead of just like thumbs upping, loving, or replying.
Almost every follower I've got on Twitter has been from me going to like Hardwell's page and they write a comment and me going, I agree. How good was it? And they go, it's amazing. Like, yeah, like follow.
Yeah.
You've got to be proactive. You've got to be super, super proactive. But you're going to have a lot of time on your hands. I guess we do have a lot of time on our hands now. I guess we've talked about quite a lot of stuff. I wanted to, before we kind of run off, was there anything you wanted to tell anyone about maybe Noisehive or Xelon? Obviously, my distribution is through Xelon. Like, or maybe Noisehive could be something handy for some people out there. A little bit more information about Noisehive.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I'll put a link in the description to the YouTube thing as well.
Yeah, agree with you. So look, we do boutique distribution. So if like you want a bit of hands-on TLC and you want people to like that can listen to the music and that can give you like speak to you on the phone and that are in your time zone and that can like help you get your record out, then I like that's a legit difference. And we've done like really basic self-releasing artists in really obscure genres right through to sort of doing you know like your Rufuses and your What So Nots and you know, Armin van Buren's and Tiestos and like any number of like acts over this past sort of 12 years. So we're kind of very scalable in what we do. And the main thing, as I said, is that we're a commission-based system. So if you want an Australian-owned distributor that operates in your time zone and has an incentive for your tracks to do well, then we should have a chat. You can always hit me up. You can add me on Facebook, Arlo Enemark, and you can follow me on Insta at Watermelon Boy, and you know anything else. You'll find me. I'm friends with Christian and shit. So just find me and hit me up, and I'm generally available for a chat. And if you're thinking about starting a label, or if you're thinking about self-releasing or anything like that, then we can at least get you off on the right track.
Yeah, I think I might do a full-on Zoom one Thursday about labels, because I've got basically a friend who is looking to start a label and he's gone through absolutely every single different website, and you know there's a lot of automated websites that you can do stuff as well, and there's different benefits to having an actual, like personally I'm with Xelon, and there's such a big benefit to having an actual team and people on emails and people that are behind there, you know, and I feel like Xelon is constantly growing as well.
There's a thing that happens as well, like if you're attached to like if there's a commission incentive, and as opposed to like just a fee-based thing where you give someone $25 to put your record up. If Christian's spending $25 to put his record up, then we take the $25, we put the record up, and then anything that happens after that is kind of like, I want to deal with the new records and put the new things up, right? But if like your income depends on everything going well, if Christian comes up and says, hey dude, what the fuck, the artwork's wrong, or there's a typo on this or whatever, then it's like 100% on us to get it sorted out. And I think that's just the like not only valuing the relationship, but that's also the reality of a commission model. And so a lot of people go, oh, hang on, but I'm intending for my label to turn over $5,000 this year, and I don't want to be spending $1,000 on a distribution cost. And it's like, yeah, we will get you that $5,000. If you're on a fee-based service that you're just completely anonymous to them and they don't care, that we can't guarantee that we'll always do better than a fee-based service, but God, it's in our interest. Like it's really in our interest.
Yeah. I've heard some shocking stories about people losing money from some of those online services as well. People getting taxed. So like I think it's like DistroKid or something is like American based, and basically like they would take the company was taking the tax out of the label's royalties, and then also the label was receiving the money and having to pay tax on it in Australia, and they were getting like double taxed. It was like basically a few nasty emails that had to go around to sort that out. So I guess that's something that's, and I've heard of like I know I think it was Husky had like had one of his labels managed by someone overseas and took his PPCA or something like that. It's like,
brutal.
Yeah, it's brutal, and that's like your bread and butter. Like you know you've got to be super careful with that sort of thing.
I was gonna link you to an article, but then I thought I may as well just link you to my Medium, because I've got all my articles on my Medium. So I've actually got my Watermelon Boy music marketing case study on there as well. So that's, you can read that, and then I've got other articles. So I'll try to put this in the chat just now. Let's have a look at
Yes, wait.
my boys' stories. So it's the same as my Twitter handle, I think. Watermelon, and then it's like _boy. Fucking, I'm so sorry, but that's what it is. No, it's not found. How funny. Here I am. Where's my profile? View profile. Yeah. So, you got to put Medium. You've got to put an @ after your slash. How stupid. So where's my chat here? Cool. So yeah, this has got like, I've got writing on here. One of the articles that I thought might have been interesting to you is, or anyone here, is why pitching for a popular playlist is not a marketing strategy. Oof. I've got a music release checklist there. And then this one, why 100% of your royalties is potentially a bad deal for you. And then 7 things you must ask your music distributor before signing up. And yeah, that's all kind of like really Noisehive related stuff. And then there's this one, is Rockstar now a real job, which you might enjoy. And then my first article from 2017, which is how streaming is cleaning up the tap water of culture. That's a bit of a weird metaphor, but it's the idea that like now we get music pumped into our house and we don't need to go down to the shops to buy it. You know, the old idea of buying CDs and stuff was like buying bottled water. Now we've got it on tap. You know, so it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, awesome. Did anyone else have any questions? I think we've covered just about everything.
I just had one more question. Your 8-bit Spotify page just made me think of it. So obviously there's some like kind of big artists on there, and there's like bootlegs, not like official stuff. I've got like an unofficial remix that I've done, which I put out just on SoundCloud in like March. Got a bunch of releases coming out like in a couple months from now. How does it work with Spotify, like putting unreleased kind of bootlegs and stuff on there? Like I don't want to kind of have that as my first thing on Spotify, get it like blacklisted, them to see me like
covers
just
are
kind
legit.
of start.
The thing about the 8-bit arcade stuff is that it contains none of the original recording. They're all covered.
Okay.
So covers are legit. So you can do any covers you want. You just can't put other people's recordings in. Now, America does get a little bit hairy when it comes to doing covers, but the rest of the world, it's 100% legit. It's not legit in America. It's just complicated because if anyone's ever dealt with American lawyers, like an Australian contract will be a page and a half, an American contract will be 25 pages, right? They just like to make everything complicated, and lawyers are good at giving themselves work. So I would say if it's a cover, it's A-okay. If the cover is too transformative, then in theory, the original composer can have a problem with it, right?
It's like a moral issue.
If you just took the chorus out and just put all 3 verses in a row and then you did like 5 choruses at the end, they might just think that's a dog's breakfast and they don't want it and it's bad for them, and they could tell you to not do it, right? They could put a cease and desist on you. But if it's a straight cover, you've got what's called a compulsory license, I think it's called.
So they get the rider splits directly to them, don't they?
Yeah. But in theory, if you like put something into Ableton and extracted the melody and as MIDI and then use that MIDI to like play through a synth, that's a cover, right?
Yeah.
It's so don't put the original recordings on Spotify. Like if you want to bootleg, use SoundCloud. It's already fucking pirate land. Like they're completely like SoundCloud are completely not legit anyway, so they've got no leg to stand on when it comes to bootlegs. So whereas Spotify are really trying hard to be legit, so don't fuck with that. If you want to do covers, great, but no original recording bootlegs.
Yeah, cool. Good to know. Cheers.
Yeah, sweet. We might touch on copyright covers, sampling and all that stuff in another session, because that's probably another 2 hour talk as well, to be honest.
Yeah, it can be a little bit dry, so maybe you need some like, I don't know, you need to find a way of spicing that up, because sometimes like intellectual property law can be a real snooze fest, but it's important to kind of have your head around it.
We can go through a contract and everything. Yes. Oh, amazing, mate. So thank you so much for your time. Before we jump off, is there anything you wanted to add?
No, I suppose thanks to the people that clicked follow just then. That's lovely.
That was sneaky. That's why you're on here teaching us about marketing.
Yeah. You can always hit me up if I don't have time to go into detail with you. I'll just tell you that I don't have time to go into detail with you. Or you'll be seen for like half a day, but like seriously, don't worry about that. If you want help regarding putting a record out, then that's my like day job. So I'm very happy to help with that stuff. If you want like really extensive advice on how to market your product, I might be able to give you a few little bites and a bit of point you in the right direction and give you a bit of sort of general advice on that as well.
So message on Facebook, hey?
Yep, that's the way.
All right, awesome. Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks so much, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. Make sure you do hit subscribe and turn the notifications on so you're going to get notified every time we upload a video. We're doing a minimum of 2 a week, sometimes 3, covering all bases in the industry from mental health, production tips, interviewing, DJs. We're going to go deep, covering all bases, get you all the information you need. Hopefully some of it is useful and there's not too much of me talking shit.